Hey everybody, here's how to attach your whoopie sling hammock suspension onto your tree strap without the use of a toggle and marlin spike hitch. So to recap the toggle and marlin spike hitch, we're attaching a whoopie sling to this tree strap, so we make a knot by making one loop and pulling another loop through that loop and sticking our toggle in our last loop and tightening it all up. And now we've created a handle right here, and the whoopie sling can be attached. The whoopie sling has a large adjustable loop. We can put the adjustable loop right here, and now we have a place to hang our hammock. But we don't need the toggle to do all this. There's a better way. We can take either a soft shackle or a continuous loop, and we'll attach one of those items to the large adjustable loop of our whoopie sling. So let's look at how to do it with the continuous loop first. So for the continuous loop is fairly long. We don't want to add a lot of distance to our whoopie sling. So take the continuous loop and make a lark's head connection to the whoopie sling. That's just going to keep it on there so we don't lose it. And now when you're ready to attach the whoopie sling onto your tree strap, you can grab this part of the loop and pull it up, effectively doubling the rope count, but halving the size. So now we have a nice short loop that we can tie a becket hitch to. The becket hitch is another super common hammock knot. A lot of people just tie the becket hitch right to the continuous loop on the hammock, but this way lets you use less webbing. So there's the becket hitch. Our whoopie sling is attached, and we can adjust our whoopie sling. One feature of doing it this way that's better than the marlin spike hitch, when I go to untie this, let's say for instance I want to move it up and down. When I untie this, with one hand I have control over the tree strap and the whoopie sling, and I don't have to hold the toggle in my hand. I can just hang onto this and move it where I want it, and then retie the knot. I'm good to go. Of course, another way to do this, if you want something more permanent than the lark's head on the continuous loop, you can get yourself a sweet little soft shackle and just thread the soft shackle through the large loop on your whoopie sling. And now you can do the same thing, tie the knot through here. And here's a little trick that you can do to shorten this and minimize the distance that it adds to your whoopie sling. You can take and make another lark's head in the end of it. That's going to shorten it up a lot. And the lark's head, the main loop of the lark's head might try to come down on your whoopie sling, but don't worry about that. And now that you have the lark's head, you can push your webbing through the lark's head. So now you're attached to your tree strap, and you have a little bit of adjustability to let this set where you want it. You can go hands-free and then tie your final knot when you're happy with everything else. So now I can tie my final knot. I can do the becket hitch. Just tie it like this, and I'm ready to hang. And of course when I pull it loose, everything won't fall out. I can let go of it if I need to. And of course I can also just do a slip knot on the end of my webbing, and what that will do is just lock up against the little lark's head that was created. And for a final method, here's another thing you can do to your whoopie sling. Here's the whoopie sling large loop, and take and splice one of these onto the end of it. This is simply a continuous loop constructed by connecting the two free ends with a button knot instead of splicing them back into itself. But before you loop it through here, you go around it twice. See how I have this extra half turn right here? You want to do it like that. So this will hang on here permanently, and when you get ready to use it, you can grab the other loop and pull it up, and you have a nice 2-inch loop. It's nice and small. Plenty of room to put your webbing through and tie the becket hitch, but it hardly adds any distance to your whoopie sling. And then another awesome feature about making this little thing on the end, let's say you want to connect the whoopie sling to something like another object, or for instance you have a tree strap with a sewn loop and you want to connect your whoopie sling to the sewn loop. So since this has the button knot and the half turn, you now have a cool little soft link shackle. So all you got to do is, say this is the sewn loop of your webbing, go through it. That's step one. And now take the loop of this and go through the legs of the button knot, and then go over the head of the button knot, and that creates a soft link. This soft link is very strong. It's a sailing inspired knot, and the whoopie sling will still pull you through here. And now you can easily attach your whoopie sling to any sewn in loop or any other thing, a piece of fence railing or a large key ring, whatever. So if you had a tree strap that was the perfect length and you just wanted to attach it to the loop of the tree strap and not be tying any marlin spike hitches or becket hitches, you could easily do it this way. And then you can disconnect this by opening up the loop that's around the head of the knot and then going back through his legs, and it comes right apart, and you still have a cool little spot to tie your webbing to if you want to. So you don't have to carry any toggles, and you don't have to have a marlin spike hitch knot. You can have a much cooler and much easier one-handed operation attachment for your whoopie sling. And of course, you guys that know whoopie slings, there is the drawback. The main barrier of a whoopie sling adds length to your hammock. So you can cut that distance a little bit when you build your whoopie slings, or when you buy them from the vendors. You can ask them to make the main loop. Where is the main loop? Here it is. So here's the main loop, the attachment loop. You can make that loop smaller, because it only needs to really be big enough to thread the whoopie sling through when you attach this to the gathered end of your hammock. And additionally, you can also suck the distance up a little bit. First, make a lark's head out of that loop, like that. Like this is how it would look if it was threaded through your hammock. Make a lark's head first, and then thread the rest through that lark's head. That will take some of the distance away. And one last thing about the convenience of the becket hitch. You guys probably noticed when I tie it, every time that I take it through the loop first, I'm pulling all this extra webbing through, and then I'm doing the knot. Well, you do not have to pull the extra webbing through. I'll show you. So let's say you had a pretty long piece of webbing, and having to pull all that extra webbing through is kind of a, drawback or whatever. So you can just leave that extra webbing there, let it double up, but just do the same knot. You can go ahead and pull it through, and then do the same knot. Just use the two strands, and it will still tighten up the same. So here it is. It's going to kind of look weird at first, but it will totally work, and you don't have to thread that long piece through. It'll just have double the amount of strands in there, but it will lock up just the same as a regular becket hitch. You don't have to sit there and thread that extra long piece through. and you can still take it apart with the slip knot. Okay, so that's it. That's just some ways you can eliminate the toggle and have a easier, simpler, and lighter setup.